Okay, and back. All right, I'm gonna move the base. It is like soaking wet, and we'll just wait for that to dry. But yeah, I mean, I can see why people like this plastic texture product. I mean, you can easily cut it and glue it, and look at that. I mean, you pretty much already have that ocean effect. Of course, we're gonna add more color to this. It's a little black gray. We need more green, gray, black. Anyway, I'm gonna move this because I know I'm just gonna drag my hand across it and then just like rub it on everything. But yeah, all right, so we'll leave that there. Um, okay, so this is our sea monster, our cosmic horror, Cthulhu, and so it's a green, black, slimy kind of creature, and so of course to create that effect, we're going to use purple and yellow. Okay, so the purple is called, it's a contrast color, and the dry brush of the light color is going to be very handy. So this is called Magus purple, and then we have yellow. It's a very difficult color to do, but this is Imperial Fist yellow, both contrast colors. And we are going to apply this. Let's use, let me pick a brush here. Let me drop all my brushes. We're gonna use, let's use this brush. So a nice simple brush, kind of cruddy, but not bad. And then we'll dip it in a little bit of water, like that. So it's a little more supple now. And then, okay, so let's do the purple. Actually, let's do the yellow. Yellow first. We'll go light to dark because we're not gonna dry our brush in between or wash our brush. So we'll go right from the yellow into the purple. And let me show you how I do this effect. Okay, so here's what this paint looks like. See how watery it is compared to that stuff, that heavy body acrylic paint? It's super watery. And then we are going to literally pour it all over ourselves. No, we are going to apply it, all right, look at this, at random over the model. So you see some there. This spot looks good. And okay, so I know what you're thinking. This is insane, but just bear with me. Okay, so you can see how this works. If I haven't said so already, I appreciate anybody who has taken the time to watch some of this content. I really enjoy making it. So I really make it not for anybody but myself. But if it gives anybody something interesting to watch, or maybe even some inspiration, what to do or what not to do, then definitely thank you very much for watching. Okay, next, the wing. Again, look at that. I am randomly applying this, just totally at random. The little tooth on top, or the spike on top, of course, we won't color. Okay, and then again, random, nothing like crazy weird, easy. We've got a little bit of color on our dry brushed miniature. Okay, cool. And now, of course, the big paw. You know, imagine this thing reaching out for you. I wonder what scale this is. I wonder if a 6mm scale would be right for this. 8mm scale. Where am I going to find a because you know I've already looked, but where am I going to find a paddle steamship? Of course I can find a paddle steamship, but an ocean-going steamship, it's a very specific thing. And so on those, the paddle was on the side, one side or both sides. It kind of depended. You can see I've done some research. Okay, now the purple. Without cleaning my brush or anything, maybe I'll wipe off a little bit of the yellow there. Okay, so let's see. And again, this is what the paint looks like. Now let me just give it a little shake to get some up here. And then we're going to just dip right here. Okay, and then the spots that are not yellow, we're going to apply the purple. okay? And then just, you don't have to be super, like, my painting style is not going to be like super accurate at this like beginning stage. You know, we're trying to apply color and see which way the miniature kind of drags us. And then the yellow, and this is kind of an important part of it, the yellow hasn't fully dried. And so this purple paint kind of reactivates the yellow, and you see at the edges what happens. It kind of starts to like mix together. You kind of start to have this, it starts to become kind of its own thing at the edges. So it's really like we're using like 3 different colors. So contrast paint is awesome. You know what I mean? You just have to make your own contrast paint by really diluting down your acrylic paint, whatever it was. But you know, it's been a very nice quality of life kind of thing because it's perfectly diluted. I mean, that's like amazing how good they do with that. And then so that's all white still, so we'll go purple there. Okay, so we'll let this work for a little bit. Look at that effect. Look at that effect. So you already get like, you know, it's something, the colors are bizarre, you know, something otherworldly, and that's exactly what you're looking for there. You see how that effect has worked on this miniature? So let's do the other little pieces real quick. You know, how long have you been working now? Probably maybe 10 minutes. Perfect. And I think what I may do is I don't know. You know, what I may do is I may compress this thing into like a shorter video. There you go, that's on there. And then, so for people that want to just, hey, see the quick version, watch the brush flying, and that's the fun part, you know, you can do that. But for people that want more information or like ask questions or offer like guidance, then they can, there's the full version or the long version of the video, which will probably be like, I don't know, 20 minutes at this point. But not bad to paint a miniature in 20 minutes. I mean, that's pretty good. So you see that nice example of like this purple golden yellow effect. And again, I'm not, you can see I'm not like super like stressed about it being like in the lines, you know what I mean? I mean, and maybe it comes down a lot to what your painting style is. Mine involves, I don't know, gusto, passion, violence. No, it involves, you know, just having fun, really, more than anything. Trying to, at least. I mean, but, you know, the funnest part, as we know, is the end when it looks really good. So always keeping your eye towards that. So I'm going to dry my brush a tiny bit. You can see the kind of like yellow purple paint that comes off, and then just use it to kind of just maybe sop up some of the pooling, you know. And what you can even do is you can, I'm going to dump that in some water and give it a second. Take another brush, some random brush. Here's a brush, and just, you know, hey, we're going to like sop up some of this. Very nice. And then a little bit of this. I'm working wet, right? I like the fact that the paint is wet because it kind of mixes itself. And look at this. This is a nice little area of, you know, dark, light, and then you have this yellow streak through that. So kind of a cool effect. And then this one, just like I said, you see some of these wet spots. You know, an effect sometimes happens with washes called coffee staining or tea staining, where the outside of the spot will be dark and the inside will be light. So we're just trying to fight that effect without dropping everything. Here, drop the brush. Are y'all's hobby areas as just disastrous as mine? I hope so. So yeah, I mean, we got some beautiful little effects here. I'm not sure if I'm going to dip this in water, my brush, and then that looks okay. That looks okay. I may put a little more. The water is kind of removing some of the paint. You can see it's reactivated it. I wanted to remove it right here because I didn't like I mean, it had stained right there, so it wasn't dry enough to where it didn't like, it didn't stay. I was able to remove it, and then, but yeah, I like the effects here. I'm going to dip this in a little bit of yellow. The yellow seems to have weirdly better penetration right now than the purple. Okay, so, for our green slimy sea creature, you know, of course, we've got purple and yellow going, and for our nice blue ocean, we've got just pitch black. Okay, so I'm gonna let this dry a little bit. Is this dry? Never mind. This is pretty dry. Okay, we're gonna keep grinding. Okay, so Cthulu, we're gonna put back here. I think we are done with the yellow. Are we done with the purple? Hang on one second. Let me just try to apply some purple here. See how this spot is kind of empty? This spot right here. So we're gonna just, there you go. There you go. Just reapply a little bit of the purple. Look at the size of this brush, man. This thing is massive. That's what, never mind. So there you go, a little of the purple there. Purple is not really giving me a lot of good penetration right now. A little better, a little better. You want to avoid bubbles for sure. You know, and I'm kind of going nuts with the purple, but I'm using it to kind of highlight some of these ridges on my friend. Yeah, that looks pretty cool. I mean, that looks really cool. I'm drying my brush real quick, and I'm going to just gently drag that paint so it doesn't pull too hard in one spot. I'm still not loving this little area right here. Can I live with it? Probably. I don't love the hand right now. It's just not, I'm going to just do the fingers a little darker there. I think I kind of like cleaned up too much, a little too well. And then, so I'm just kind of using the purple to find some highlights, you know, just to find some texture on the miniature. The spots that are purple, I'm just going over lightly, you know, just trying to accentuate that effect a little bit, best I can. Carefully, but not too carefully, you know. I'm looking for that randomness, the chaos, because you'll see what the effect is at the end when all this stuff actually dries. Okay, that looks pretty good. We're getting there. And then let me just, this little spot here. More purple, better. Color concepts, color theory, important. I'm not great at it. I mean, that is a science unto itself. But it's important. It makes a big difference in, like, you know, good art. And I would not call myself a good artist, but even just, you know, the casual paint slinger, which is kind of more what I am. You know, a basic knowledge of color theory goes a long way in understanding sort of how colors, what am I trying to say, interact, mix, you know, I mean, all of these things are, they are, oh, I like that. All right, that kind of brought me back to where I needed to go right there. You know, how colors mix and interact. So you can see you can see it really clearly right here on his head. You know, the purple and the kind of this golden, strong yellow, you know, they are creating interesting variations. And then, you know, the mixture of the two looks natural, looks realistic, looks, you know, ominous. So, all right, so we are done there. All right, dunk that in water. All right, so I'm gonna clean these two brushes. And the base is pretty dry enough. And I'm not super stressed if it's not super dry. Sorry, just trying to put these brushes in without destroying everything. Because I know that, you know, if I can get some free blending by just like, you know, using a wide brush on a wet base, then that will add to the realism. So you can see it's pretty dry. It's not super tacky. And then let's see here. So let's see what the so we started with the dark gray and maybe a little bit of the unbleached titanium. And then let's see what, I'm going to leave the miniature up there. Well, here, look, there you can really see the color kind of the way it was we put on. So let's see what green gray kind of looks like, feels like. Is it lighter? Eesh. Okay, that's a lot lighter. That's a lot lighter, but yeah, maybe this will work if we use it kind of as just a pure highlight color. Let's see. Let's just drag it across here. Trying to pick up a few little remnants of that kind of color mix we had, you know, to start our process of transitioning. And this is like a 3/4 inch brush too. So, and look, here's what we have on our palette, and we're just gonna, on our brush, and here's what we're gonna do. We're just gonna try to drag it across and see what happens. Okay, look, it's picking up the ridges of this water. It's doing a really nice job of that, actually. Accidentally just globbed on way too much, so trying to remove it. All right, so let's see what it's doing. It's removing some of the glossiness. That's interesting, but it's picking up like these ridges in the texture. And you know better than I know, after watching some of my other videos, this is all about letting the miniature, letting the model do its own thing. Look at that. God, I mean, look, that's not bad. I think we're missing a spot here. I mean, this is looking like, I don't know. I mean, if I said, look, this is like an ocean, I mean, it looks like an ocean. So let's see here. I rubbed it that way. I'm gonna go this way also. We can always darken this, you know, we can put a series of washes and stuff on it, but we want that effect of like the rippling waves. I can clean that up here in a second. But wow, look at this. I mean, this is, okay, I really like this texture. Like, look at that. Just by like 2 colors with 3/4 inch brushes, a little bit of paint mixing, not a lot. I mean, you know, nothing stressful. I mean, and we just got this beautiful effect. You know, I got some paint, you know me, if I have paint, I'm going to use paint within reason. Famous last words. So, there. Yeah, I mean, this looks amazing. I'm really impressed with how good this product is. The company is Amera. I think I've said that already, but I mean, that looks phenomenal. I mean, you know, just you're looking out to sea, you know, when you look really far out into the ocean, you know, it doesn't look blue anymore or anything like that. It starts to look like deep and dark when you're far away from land. What better place to have this, like, you know, ancient horror, which is still dripping wet with paint. Oh, this is going to take a while to dry. Okay, so let's keep working this. So that's like a green. This is called green gray. There's not a lot of green to that. You know, you see some green on the palette here, and then you see the color we sort of ended up with there. So I mean, it's a lot of things. Green, maybe not one of them. But we have green This is a dark green. Of course, this is our Luftwaffe camo green. And one drop, one ping only. There you go. Who knows that movie? Okay, and then let's rub this into the green gray on the palette and see what happens. Yeah, I mean, it's picking up some of the gray for sure, and I have some of the gray on the brush. So let's see if we can get a little bit of color on here. Yeah, there's a little bit of color applying. You can see a little bit of the green starting to transfer, and that's all I want. I just want a little bit of the green to transfer. You know, I'm not looking for, you know, it's water, it's random. There's a 10 bazillion ton thing coming out of it here. So that's not bad. You know what I mean? It kind of gives it a kind of a glowy effect almost. It kind of makes sense. You know, if that's pretty good. I mean, pretty not bad. Okay, so we have that. Perfect. Let's see how close we are on this. All right, this is still too wet. I need this to be dry for the next step. So I am going to cut it off here, come back in about, I don't know, 20 minutes, let this thing fully dry, and then we're gonna do the next step, okay, guys? Thank you for hanging in there. This is gonna look cool when it's done, promise. Okay, talk to you soon.